I gotta tell you guys a story. A couple of years ago, I joined a business. I was really excited because it was a really new business, but it was getting popular in my area because young people like myself were able to get in for cheap and make a really good monthly income just by talking to people. Something that a teenager dreams of. Make money on the side without really have to worry about anything or doing anything too crazy. I'm a dreamer and I always have been, so of course I jumped at the opportunity. One of the big motivations of the business were the success stories. And not even I can imagine what these people were doing in the business. We heard stories of 20-somethings making $250,000, $500,000, even more than $1 million a year. We couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it until I met them. We had an event at a college one day. It was a big deal because we never done an event that big. It was around 200 people. Usually our events were like 10 to 20 people, if not less. I was doing pretty well at the time, and I was doing presentations pretty much, every day, every other day for the business at our smaller events. So they said, hey, why don't you speak at our event? Man, was I excited. 200 people, that's a lot, but I've never been one to shy away from public speaking. What I didn't know, though, at the time was one of the top income earners was coming to our event. Crazy. His name was Brad. He was worth only $2 million. But here's the kicker. He was only 26. After my inspired speech, I was invited to sit right next to Brad. I don't know how many times I'll say this in this story, but I couldn't believe it. He was so laid back, so chill. He gave me props in my presentation and everything. Again, I couldn't believe that this guy was worth millions and he was sitting right next to me. During a break, he told me that he could see potential in me and that everything that he achieved is possible for me, as long as I visualized it and worked on it. I told him, it's hard to imagine what making your kind of money is. It really is. He shows me, right? He pulls out his phone, he shows me his business account in an app. It showed me that day alone, he had made around $1,000 so far profit. And he says to me, remember this, because it's really early in the day. About an hour later, during another speaker's presentation, gives me a little nudge with his elbow and shows me his phone. $3,500. The dude made $2,500 in an hour doing nothing. I was officially a true believer in passive income. So this just goes to show you, this dude was making money while we were just sitting there watching a presentation. He didn't have to do anything, he was still making money. Later on that day, we decided to have a party at a frat house that night. We had Brad here. He's from the West Coast. We're on the East Coast. He was only going to be here for a few days. So hey, let's take advantage of it. We got a dude with tons of money. Let's have some fun, right? That's everybody's mentality. Let's party with a millionaire. So we set up this party at the frat house. I show up with a couple of my business partners / friends. We're having a good time. I'm walking through this 3-story place, this 3-story frat house. I peek into a couple rooms and see some pretty interesting things going on. When I'm sitting out here on a deck, right? And I'm just partying with these people, a little bit of drink, a little bit of smoke. And I'm like, where's Brad? So he goes, oh, Brad's in the other room. So I go into the other room where Brad is, and I kid you not, Brad is sitting back on this little cot with his back against the wall, with his headphones in. He's on his phone, doing a presentation. It's like midnight, it's past midnight. Everybody else is high, drunk, and Brad's sitting here on a cot with his headphones in doing a business call. This man's worth $2 million. I watched him make $2,500 in an hour. It's past midnight, everybody's partying. And all he's doing is making more money. I couldn't believe it. Now, granted, this dude, he did have a joint in his hand. He said, hey, I can play a little bit while I work. But everybody's mentality there is party with the millionaire, and the millionaire is not partying. So the moral of the story is, don't think that just because you're making money that you shouldn't work. Or don't think that just because you want to make money, the work stops. This man did it by choice. He easily could have took his foot off the gas, but he didn't. Why? Because he knew better. He's only 26. His prime party days. And he's spending that time to grow, to get even better, to cement his legacy, cement his possibilities, his income. The work never stops. But you have to enjoy what you're doing. Because if you don't enjoy what you're doing, you'll hate that the work doesn't stop. I loved spending time with that guy and picking his brain and seeing how he does things. Alright guys, I'll see you Major Minds next time. If you like what you heard, like and subscribe for more content. Hit the notification bell so that you'll get alerted when I make more content. Thanks, Major Minds.